Hello, guys. My name is Josue Perez. I am going to be doing a speech on generational diversity in the workplace. I chose generational diversity in the workplace because I have a job, and in that job, there's a lot of diversity across generations. Right? I am a Gen Z. My coworkers, they're millennials, and my boss, he's a baby boomer. So there's a huge diversity of generations in my workspace, and I was just interested to learn more about it. So hopefully you guys learn something about generational diversity in my speech. I made this slide here explaining on what generation I'm talking about, right? There are four generations that are in the workspace right now. There are baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, and Generation Z. Now, if you go on the internet, there's different types of names given to these generations. I got my names from from a source. The article name is Defining Generations Where Millennials End and Generation Z Begins. The article is made by Michael DeMock, and I got the ages from a different source. I got that from the U.S. Census Bureau. The article is called The Baby Boom Cohort in the United States, 2012 to 2060, and that is written by Sandra L. Kobe and Jennifer M. Ortman. And in those articles, they talk about the age groups and their financial status, right? And as you can see, I wrote down the names: baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Z. Millennials are also known as Generation Y, and Generation Z are also known as post-millennials, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. What are the challenges of generational diversities? So I have two main challenges that come from the generational diversity. One of them being tension, right? There's a lot of tension going across different generations, and that's because there's some miscommunication, which is my second challenge, right? Because you create tension having miscommunication because those generations, right? They communicate differently. They communicate differently, and they use different words and stuff like that. So there is always some miscommunication across generations, and that can hinder the work that has to be done in the workplace, right? So that's miscommunication. That's a big challenge. Tension as well, like I said, because sometimes older generations don't want to teach their skills to the newer generations, or newer generations, they don't want to listen to those older generations talking about oh, we did this and this back in the days, right? So there is some tension between there. So let's move on to the next slide here. I have stereotypes. There are different type of stereotypes across generations, right? Baby boomers, they're considered out of touch. They're considered not good with technology, stuff like that. And that, I would say that's a pretty bad stereotype because that's not true. My boss, he's great with technology, and he's a baby boomer. So he that's a complete stereotype that is completely false, right? Generation X, they're workaholics. That's a huge stereotype, and I would say that's not a true. That's not true because they do spend times with their families more, right? Generation X had the least amount of divorces, right, compared to baby boomers and other generations. And I got that information from a article online. It's called Breaking Down Divorce Rates by Generation, and that article was written by Goldberg Jones. And in the article, he gives information about different generations and their marital status. So you can go check that out if you're interested. But yeah, Generation Y and Generation Z, I'm going to group them together because they're both born in the age of technology, right? They're considered lazy and untrustworthy. That's a huge stereotype, because I am a Gen Z. My parents are Gen Y, right? They're millennials, and we work hard. I would say we work hard. So I would just say, don't stereotype based on their generation. Just think of people's character, right? Don't judge because of their generation. Let's go to workflow, because workflow is important too. Workflow, it hinders the working process if you don't know technology. Technology is improving every single year, so being up to date with technology and learning new skills, stuff like that, will make the workflow a lot faster, right? Which baby boomers, Gen X, they have harder times, right? But not complete hard times, right? They can still learn, they can still do this, do that, right? So technology is a really good, it's a really big thing to know. At this day and age, you should know about technology because it can be really good to your workflow, right? All right, so let me give my final thoughts here. How can generation diversity be a good thing? It can be a good thing because, different generations have different skill sets, different mindsets, stuff like that. So they can communicate with each other and they can improve upon each other. That's why we have, computers the size of our palm, right? Phones, stuff like that, because generations teach upcoming generations, because they teach the newer generations and what they already knew, right? So they work together, and that's why it can be a good thing. How can we stop stereotyping? I believe we can stop stereotyping because we have to stop stereotyping because it really does hinder our workflow, and also some of them are completely false, right? They're miscommunications, right? They're miscommunications. I would say you have to look into someone's individual characteristics to actually, give a full judge on them, on their characteristics. I wouldn't sterilize people based on their gender, right? I'm so sorry. based on their generations. So yeah, that's a good way to stop stereotyping. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my 8-minute speech here. I try to go as fast as I could. I recorded this for the third time now. It was 30 minutes the first time, but hopefully you guys liked it. See you guys in my next speech.